Good morning, everyone. It's morning in Nigeria. It's about 10 minutes to 11. We have a few minutes before we begin this conference, and you are free to interact. We usually allow this period for people to exchange pleasantries because one of the things that is missing in this new normal, the virtuality of conferences, is that socialization is reduced to a minimum, if at all it exists. So what we normally do at hybrid virtual conferences is to give the first 30 minutes, we call it red carpet time, for people to interact. There's no see the immediate past DG of NIBRI, Professor K.S. Gamaniel. You are welcome. I see some staff of the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development. I'm seeing Anita Fanto. Anita Fanto is a senior pharmacist at the NIBRI clinic. You are welcome. I see Dr. Tiwalade Adelakun. He's also one of our hot research fellows in the Department of Chemistry. You are welcome. I see Ibrahim Bolaji, I see Kekewa Kabuku, I see Nathan, I see Ratidat, I see Shaibu Bello, and I see Yerima Yusuf. Yeah. Professor Yerima.
Hello, can you hear me now? Hello? Okay, thank you. I can't hear anybody yet.
Don't worry, Prof, I can hear you.
Okay, the professor himself, the great man. That's all right.
My great Prof, good to meet you.
No, you are a great, you are the greater prof.
I am following you. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
My chairman, sir.
I'm sure you may try this one.
Hello.
Good morning, my chairman.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well, sir.
But you can't see me.
You are welcome, sir.
Thank you, Prof. Well done.
Yes, sir. So we will start shortly. The chairman of the House Committee on Healthcare Services lost his uncle. So he is on his way to to his state, but his deputy is supposed to take his place. So I'm just calling his deputy now, who said he has been waiting for my call.
Okay. Dr. Ozuna.
We need to start now because we don't know how not to start on time. Okay, we'd like to welcome everyone to Nigeria. This is Nigeria, and right away, I'm seated at the seat of government of Nigeria. We call this place Abuja. Abuja is the Federal Capital Territory. It is the administrative headquarters of Nigeria. Nigeria is the largest economy in Africa. It's the largest black nation in the world. It's the largest democracy in the world. And Nigeria is host to the most intelligent people in the world. That is arguably very true. But Nigeria is bedeviled with a lot of things that, in my personal opinion, are self-inflicted. Now, the emergence of COVID-19 seem to be recreating people and making people come back to the senses which they originally were made of. So we therefore, in the last 1 year, have been hearing a lot about COVID-19, about SARS-CoV-2, about coronaviruses, about pandemics, and what countries, what states, what individuals, and most especially what scientists, and very most especially what health research scientists should do in order to ensure that health resources that are necessary, that we may make progress, that you may be able to attend to the people, that you may be able to justify the taxes that have been paid, on you, because for every one of us that have attained one form of education or the other, some level of tax, some level of national sacrifice was made to make you who you are. So we recognize in our sphere here, in our space, that if we are unable at times like this to come to the rescue of our nation, then we essentially must be failing. So in order that this may not happen again, we'll be looking at the different areas, and things that we can do. For us, at the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development, we've been singing this song for more than a decade now. And if only we were listened to, we believe strongly that we wouldn't have suffered the extent to which we did. And in continuation of our effort, we are at this conference, a one-day conference that is essentially about 1 hour. We are going to look at research and development as essentially as a solution to medicine insecurity. And why is medicine insecurity an issue for us now? I believe I should not waste too much time on that, because we should all know by now that if countries have locked up their borders against us, then everyone probably would have gone to the grave by now in this country and then in Africa, because we do not produce anything. And it is a shame that with all our skill, with all our knowledge, we do not produce anything. What do we do to get out of this quagmire? These are things we shall be discussing at this conference. We have lined up great men and women will give us another 5 minutes to interact at the social level, because the chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Healthcare, own colleague in the profession, a medical doctor of repute and a politician of good standing, Dr. Tanko Sununu, lost his uncle just this morning. So he's on his way out of Abuja, but in his stead, the deputy chairman of the committee is going to chair this meeting and is going to give the opening remark. He just contacted me about a minute ago, so I need to get his email to the ICT unit in order for him to join this stage. So while I'm away for 5 minutes, can we quickly continue our social interaction? I see on the stage already the chairman of the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria, my own lecturer, Professor Ahmed Tijani Mora, a professor of an indefatigable professor and chairman of our council, who is also the latest crowned chief. We'll talk about that later. He's on the stage. Our guest speaker, who is the keynote speaker, is also here. He's a researcher of repute of international standing. When you mention his name, the world knows that you are mentioning him. He is Professor Reo Zolua. I'm going to talk about them later. My DG is already here, Dr. Obi Adigwe, the convener of this program, the man that directs what we are doing. You are already here. I see a lot of attendees. I'll get back to you as soon as I'm done with the chairman of the House Committee. 5 minutes, please. Thank you. Okay, so I am back. I'd like to welcome everyone on this to this conference. I see a lot of colleagues and see a lot of participants. You are all welcome to this conference. Like I said earlier, we would like to identify everyone by So kindly rename your system. If your system is bearing Techno, Nokia, iPhone, and all of those fine names, try to rename them so that we can recognize you. I'd like to especially recognize, we are about to start. We are waiting for the chairman of this conference. The chairman of this conference is the chairman of the House Committee on Healthcare Services of the House of Representatives, Dr. Tanko Sununu. He will soon join. Like I said earlier before I took 2 minutes. But before he joins this conference, may I recognize and welcome to this conference Ali Arale. Amodi Yakubu is my classmate, all the way from Zamfara State. You are welcome. Amoke Sunday, Professor Aina. I can see Professor Aina. That's my dean. I call her my dean, Dean Emeritus. Dr. Bulus Anu, you are welcome. Catherine Uwa, David Eko, you are all welcome. I can see all of you. I'm delighted to see you guys. Dr. Danraka is here. Dr. Abubakar, our accountant, the man that pays the money at night, his name is Zema Levis.
It's not recognizing
it. Okay. So I will recognize you as welcome, sir.
Good morning.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Prof, how are you? Hello?
Fine, thank you, sir.
Okay, you can hear me. The network is bad.
So, we are going to start now that you have you were the one we were waiting for, sir.
Prof, I can't hear you. This network is so bad. Live on YouTube. Show YouTube. Check out YouTube.
No, you won't be able to interact with it.
Hello?
I can hear you and see you very clearly.
I'm not hearing you well. It's fluctuating. Wow. Yes.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, sir. You are welcome. We are going to start now that you are around.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to begin this conference now. The chairman of this conference is around. The chairman of this conference is Honorable Tunde Adejare.
Yes.
Am I correct?
You are correct. You are correct.
I got it. Okay, so he is the chairman of this event. He is the deputy chairman of the Nigerian House of Representatives Committee on Healthcare Services. He's chairing this conference. We are grateful that you are here, sir. And it's a pleasure. We are delighted and we are honored to be receiving you this morning.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We know you already, but for the purpose of those that don't know you, it's good that you are here live and direct because they should know that the House Committee on Healthcare Services, led by our own friend and your brother, Dr. Tanko Sununu, and your humble self, is doing a lot, and we are looking forward to more. And that is why we ensure and insist that you have to chair this meeting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes. So we shall start with the national anthem. We shall start with the national anthem. anywhere you are, in respect of who we are and as a nation, we shall stand up to sing the national anthem. After a count of 2, 2, 1, 0, let's go. Arise,
compatriot, Nigeria's calling to serve our fatherland with love and strength and
the labor of our heroes shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. Thank you. Thank you very much. We will adjust to all of this. It's one of the things that come around with the changes in man's way of living. This is what comes with virtuality these days. So we will leave it like that. Okay, so I'll quickly introduce our panelists. As you can see, we have posted the brochure. Just look at the chat part of your system. You can download the brochure there. You can actually download the brochure and follow us. On the brochure, you will see that the second item is introduction of panelists. So may I have the privilege and the honor to just introduce by way of calling the names of our panelists for this conference. I have on this panel the keynote speaker. The keynote speaker is a professor of pharmacology and toxicology. He is a pharmacist of repute. He's an opinion leader. He's an influencer. He's an academic. He's a researcher. He commands his space, and he's well known internationally. He resides currently at the University of Benin, where he teaches, where he trains and mentors young medical graduates. He is Professor Ray Ozolo. You will see about him in the conference brochure. We have decided to put a short biography of all our panelists in the brochure so that you can read it, so that we don't take too much time talking about it at this conference. You read it yourself and try to network by connecting with them. Here present is our keynote speaker. The keynote speaker, Professor Zolua, you are welcome to this conference.
Thank you very much, Martins. God bless. I'm with you.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to also introduce another panelist. He is a man of many parts. He's an academic. He is a community mobilizer. He is a hospital pharmacist. He is an industrial pharmacist. He is a traditional ruler, and he's an administrator of repute. In fact, he was a registrar of the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria for 8 years, during which time he revolutionized the council and made it what it is. In fact, when I took oath as a pharmacist in 1998, Pharmacists Council of Nigeria, when they did not have what we use today, we call them academic camps. It was in the time of A.T. Mora that academic camp came into the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria. And there are so many things that I wouldn't like to start talking because it will take our time. But the man is here, and just a few days ago, he was stubborn. Let me not attempt to call the name of that title so that I don't murder it. But I believe I will plead with him to call the name for us when he is his turn to say something. But he's Professor A.T. Mora. Ahmed Tijani Mora is a professor at Igbinedion University, but he's currently the chairman of the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria. He has been teaching at the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria for years, for more than 3 decades, and he teaches for free. I am one of the beneficiaries of his free teaching. Professor A.T. Mora, you are welcome. microphone is mute. So when you can unmute, it seems your microphone is mute. So I will go to the next person who is not on now because he's currently having a Zoom meeting with his boss in the United States of America. The chief of party to USP Nigeria. The chief of party to USP Nigeria is pharmacist Mopa. Mopa is correct. Okay.
Okay, you can hear me.
Welcome, sir. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Professor Martins.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we will introduce Mopa when it comes. The chief of party to USP Nigeria is currently doing a report to his office in US. So as soon as it's done from the the chairman of this meeting, Honorable, who is here, and but may I now welcome to a man who is responsible for being gathered today, and that is why deliberately I've left his introduction to be the last. Executive of Nightbreed. Yes, his name is Dr. Obi Peter Adigwe, the DG, Director General of the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development. This man, I will tell you later about him. For now, let me just tell you that the person who has been causing controversies in the media as a result of his love, passion, aggression, determination, and zeal to ensure that Nigeria utilizes its own capacity and the capabilities of its own scientists. He is the one on stage to take marks because he's welcoming us as the convener of this project. DG Nightbreed, sir.
Thank you very much, Professor Meja. Mine is a very easy task, and I thank the team for making it easy for me. Yesterday, I had a 9-hour marathon meeting, and unfortunately, I almost exhausted my total word count for the whole week. So my comments today will be very, very minimal. Let me begin by welcoming the star-studded team that we have here today for this conference. It is on record that this is the very first time in history that this varied team of high-level stakeholders are being brought together to look at the issue of medicines security. As we all know, the triple helix or quadruple helix model is what is being canvassed as the most appropriate formula for engaging in developing solutions in situations and contexts such as ours. And that is when you bring in the academia, when you bring in government, and when you bring in industry, as well as the community, if you're looking at the quadruple helix model to look at issues. What it means is that you have various groups talking to each other. And this particular star-studded team that we have here today is the very best demonstration of that particular type of concept that I have seen so far as regards discussing the issue of medicine security. Honorable Adejare, Honorable Dr. Adejare, my very good friend. I remember the last time we talked at National Assembly, you were a bit upset with me because I was arguing that most of the resources should come to NIPRID in terms of research and development. A lot of people don't know why I take Honorable Adejare very, very close to my heart. He's not only the vice chairman of the Health Services Committee at the House of Representatives, a Health Services Committee that has, in the recent past, demonstrated that health is indeed the bastion of national development. There is nowhere that the Right Honorable Speaker goes to that he doesn't mention health first. It is because of the work of people like Honorable Adejare and Honorable Sununu. And so we thank you. But that's not the reason why I like Honorable Adejare. Honorable Adejare represents Agege in Lagos. And those of you who knew me when I was executive secretary of PMG Man in Lagos know that the only place I could find kuli kuli in Lagos was at the Central Mosque in Agege. And so it's a thing of pleasure that people like Honorable Adejare are giving my people in Agege quality representation. Those of you who watched the Penn Cinema flyover launch a couple of weeks ago, that is where Honorable Adejare's constituency is. So, Honorable Adejare, we thank you for coming today to lend your incredible legislative nous and support to the work that we do here in the in research and development as regards addressing medicine security. The other stakeholders here are no strangers to many of us in the room. Professor A.T. Mora is well known for his time as registrar of the PCN. His claim to fame there was the fact that he more than 10 times, increased by more than 10 times the number of offices that the council had in a very short while. And he's also a well-known author, a well-known academic and intellectual. And so his position as regulator today will no means bring value to the discussion we're having today in terms of looking at Panacea for medicine security. Similarly, Professor Ray Ozolwa, most of you know him as a professor. I know him as the consultant's consultant because whether it's with the Americans or whether it's with the British or whether it's with the presidency or with the regulatory agencies, whenever they want to unravel a very, very stubborn problem, it is consultants like Professor Ray Ozolwa that they go to. But there was something I learned about him today while I was flipping through the conference brochure that was prepared. I learned that he also has a very, very strong affinity for forensic pharmacy, and that is of great interest for me. Some of you here may not know, a few weeks ago when there were unexplained deaths in Kano, at the very highest levels in this country, they reached out to us in NIPRID to say, this is what is going on in Kano. And we know that your institute is home to some of the most world-renowned scientists. How can you lend value to what we're doing? And we were able to send someone who had expertise in forensic toxicology to the committee that looked at Kano. And I will not be immodest in saying that the contribution of that forensic toxicologist went a long way in unraveling the case of the mysterious deaths in Kano. So Professor Ozolwa, I'm glad to know that your You're very strong in forensic pharmacy and forensic aspect of our service. And hopefully, next time I get a call from the highest levels, we will have a consultancy waiting for you in that area. The last speaker who is yet to join us is pharmacist Mokpa Isuga. I also have a very close relationship with pharmacist Mokpa Isuga, because whilst I was the executive secretary of the Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Group, we worked very closely with the USP, and even on transition to my role as Director General of NIPRID, we have continued that relationship. And one of the very first international fora that we had, NIPRID Head 1, which was headlined by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, had the same gentleman, pharmacist Mokpa Isuga, speaking at that particular conference, which held at Transcorp Hilton. So I know that whenever he finishes with his meeting with his American colleagues and he comes on board to provide some value in terms of medicine security, I know that the attendees will be in for a power-packed presentation. And so I will not sort of like preempt some of the very insightful presentations you're going to hear today. Mine is to just to say welcome. The attendees, I can see we had, as at this morning, we had over 300 people registered to attend this particular event, which is normal for our conferences here at NIPRID, and not surprising for the type of high caliber panelists that we've gathered here today. Mine is just to say welcome. You're in for a great time. The anchor, he calls himself, or rather the brochure calls him an anchor, but that is also sort of like being a bit modest about his qualities. Professor Martin Zemeja is one of our best and brightest. He's one of the brains behind our brand new nanotechnology center, which is the first nanotechnology center in Africa focused on healthcare and drug development. So forget the fact that he also makes you people laugh on this platform. There is a lot of intelligence behind that humor. Ladies and gentlemen, I have now unfortunately finished my word count for the week. So permit me to now yield the floor and welcome you to what promises to be an eventful conference. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That was the voice of the Director General of the Institute, Dr. Obi Adigwe. Thank you, DG. So let's quickly go to the next on the item, but permit me to, because there are so many persons, I'm going to find time because there's something we decided we're going to do at this conference. Everyone on this at this conference is special to us, and because we are not seeing you physically to shake hands and to hug you, if you have been following my series for the last 1 week, I have been writing a daily series on hugging and the pharmacological and medical importance of hugging. And unfortunately, we cannot hug ourselves because this is a virtual meeting. So the least I can do is to just rush by calling your names later on. I will do that. But let me not move on without saying that present at this conference is the director of the Traditional and Complementary Medicines Department. We call it TICAM, Traditional, Complementary and Alternative Medicines. It's a full-fledged department of the Federal Ministry of Health. The director of that department is our own pharmacist, Zainab Sherif. is present at this meeting. You cannot hide. I'm seeing you. Welcome back. Okay, so let me go to the chairman of this occasion now, of this conference. Chairman is going to deliver opening remarks and is going to say, yes, I have given approval that you guys can go ahead and do this meeting. Honorable Adejere, our own Deputy Chair, House Committee on Healthcare Services. Over to you, sir. Your mic. You need to unmute your mic.
Are you hearing me now? Are you hearing me now? I'm not hearing you.
We can hear you.
Very, very clear, sir.
Okay. Say welcome to everybody, particularly the convener, my friend, my brother, Dr. Adigwe. And also say welcome to everybody else, the convener. I like your humor, and we've just been told that the humor is backed up with a lot of talent and brain there. Thank you for doing this for us. To all the panelists, keynote speakers, I really say welcome to you. And thank you for having us too. Before I go on, I want to say that, like you said, I'm representing my principal, who is Dr. Tanko Sununu, the committee chairman of healthcare services of this noble house of representatives. I'm very happy to be here, and everywhere we go, we always want to make it clear to everybody that this committee, under the able, purposeful, responsible leadership of Dr. Tanko Sununu, is ready to work with all the players in our health sector, particularly, and we are saying it, we are not dodging to say it, the NIPRID Research Institute, because we know that a lot needs to be done in terms of local production of drugs, and what we're about to talk about this morning. It's my pleasure to be here and to represent my principal. The topic for today that we'll all be listening to different speakers talk about is research and development, the panacea for medicine insecurity. This is not too far-fetched, too far-fetched, because if we can develop our own drugs here, I don't think all this issue of fake drugs will be, I know that it will be reduced drastically. I have a remark that has been given to me by Dr. Sununu, so I quickly want to go through it because I'm here to learn a lot today, and I want to learn. So if you permit me, I'll go ahead. This paper is Research and Development of Indigenous Biomass, Phytomedicine. The earliest usage of herbal remedies is recorded as coming from the Chinese, Indians, Egyptians, Greeks, Romans, and Syrians. This was documented by Mukeshwa Pandey et al. In 2011. But I want to say here that it's because they didn't do, it should not be too right to say the earliest usage of herbal remedies came from these people alone. It came from us too, because they didn't document our own. Our forefathers started using herbal medicine long time ago too, and that we all know. The world is now moving towards the herbal medicine or phytomedicine that repair and strengthen body systems, especially the immune system, which can properly fight foreign invaders and help to destroy offending pathogens without toxic side effects. Nowadays, the international trade in medicinal plants and their products was put at around 60 billion US dollars in year 2000. It will have been so much more than that now, and this is quite a lot of money. With average annual growth rate of 7%, I was expected to reach 5 trillion US dollars by 2050. These cannot be toyed with. If we really want to even increase, this is a way of even increasing our GDP in this country by making sure we have our own fair share of this trade of about $5 trillion by 2050 in herbal drugs. The World Health Organization, WHO, estimates that more than 80% of global population now adopt herbal medicines, phytotherapy, as a basic source of maintaining good, healthy conditions, owing to the pronounced side effects, non-affordability, and expensive nature of conventional treatment options. And also even a lot of fake, people have started faking these drugs too much. If you are using paracetamol, you are not even sure you are using the correct paracetamol, you are not using the correct dosage. It's been adulterated. That when we now come to herbal medicine, it is not so easy for it to be adulterated. We all know it, and it's coming from us here. Some of the common herbal plants that are around garlic, ginger, turmeric, ginseng, aloe vera, thyme, celery, sunflower, mint, nutmeg, cinnamon. And unfortunately, I can't show you the pictures. I have pictures of some of them here. While herbal medicine research and development. Now, our people are more exposed. They are more educated. They are more health conscious. So people, and our people are so versatile that they are looking for cure. They are looking for treatment. All these orthodox drugs, some of them are not readily available. Of recent, a friend of mine had to be transported out of this country. And one of the drugs he was using was costing us about 10 million naira, for a month. One particular drug. So the expensiveness of all these orthodox drugs has been part of the forces that has been driving our people towards developing herbal drugs that we can easily get and that are cheaper here. And a lot of conscious effort from government and our people to create balance between the socioeconomic differences between the rural and the urban centers. So, and one of the ways is to look into developing our herbal drugs, herbal medicine. And a lot of free market economy is driving a lot of people being able to sell their goods, even to as far as foreign countries. And this is helping us to develop these our drugs, herbal drugs. What are the economic importance of local research and development of this local drugs? It is a very good potential source of employment and livelihood. The value chain of production of herbal drugs and their sales. They are cost effective. You use small money to buy what to treat, what the orthodox drug that will cost you so much will also treat. Like I said before, this will contribute to our GDP. It will help us and improve our livelihood there. It can also help us in foreign exchange. And one of the things that is wrong with this country is we import a lot of things, and we are not exporting. We are exporting few things. So we are not any foreign exchange that will help to show up the value of our naira. So therefore, you see our currency getting devalued all the time. And we have more savings in foreign exchange. You can imagine when I said by 2050, this trade in herbal drugs will be about $6 trillion. That's a multi-billion-dollar industry we are looking at on our hands in this country. What are the health benefits of phytomedicine research and development? These herbal drugs have little or no side effects. They are safe alternative to orthodox drugs, orthodox medicine. They are easily available and accessible, and they serve as so many things, including serving as detoxifiers and cure agents for things like diabetes, hypertension, all of them. The common health conditions manageable via herbal medicine research and development. I have over 42 of them listed here, but amongst them are, like I said before, diabetes, stroke, malaria, typhoid fever, arthritis, high blood pressure, cancer, menstrual disorder, and all the rest. Some of the examples we have here is hemp works. Hemp works has a principal product known as cannabidiol, CBD. Hemp market is up to $22 billion. These are huge sum of money. These will be in trillions of naira by 2022. CBD is a chemical compound known as cannabinoid, found in the resinous flower of cannabis. CBD is non-psychoactive, unlike its psychoactive relative, tetrahydrocannabinol, THC. CBD has many potential therapeutic benefits, including anti-inflammatory, analgesic, anti-anxiety, and seizure suppressant properties. Another example is Super Life. This is made from apple, blackcurrant, bilberry, cantaloupe, grapefruit, Malus domestica. It is STC30. It's used in stem cell therapy, which we call nature repair kits. It's been documented that stem cells can be used in management of over 130 diseases, including diabetes, kidney stones, kidney failure, liver disease, dysfunctional pancreas, vision impairment, skin repair, glaucoma, cancer, Down syndrome, stroke, leukemia, rheumatoid arthritis, and a lot of them, cardiovascular diseases. And they can serve as anti-aging, in anti-aging drugs. And potential market of stem cells within the next decade is approximately going to be about $50 billion. These are a huge sum of money. I'm even afraid to call some of them. They're so rich, $50 billion. My conclusion, medicines obtained from herbal sources are in great demand in both developed and developing world and provides outstanding contribution to modern therapeutics. Recognizing that local research and development is the panacea for medicine's insecurity, the National Assembly has started to support research and development institutions from 2020. We are really looking at their budget to see how we can enhance their productivity by giving them more funds to fund these research and development programs. There is, however, a need for the private sector to partner with research and development institutions like NIPRI to work through the process of value addition to both potential existing programs. I want to say that as a chairman, we are not here to do a lot of this speech and talk to you. You're all experts in your own right. We are here to learn, we will learn, and to listen, and to see how we can also contribute our own quota in working with NIPRI to achieve the desired aim and objective of NIPRI. We are in no doubt that NIPRID is set for humongous breakthrough under the leadership of Dr. Adigwe. And with people like Professor Imeji supporting him, we know that the sky is just the beginning. It's not even the boundary anymore. It's the beginning. I want to say thank you for listening to me. And before I stop, I want to say on behalf of Dr. Tanko Tsunono, I declare open this talk on R&D is the panacea for drug insecurity in our country. Thank you for listening. God bless you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. Our own chairman of this occasion, Honorable Tunde Adejare. We
Thank you,
are
my
honored,
brother.
we are privileged, and we are grateful, sir. Yes, sir. If those who watch foreign channels like me, I do it a lot, although I also watch all Nigerian channels, all local channels. But those who watch foreign channels like me will appreciate when a legislator is present in an event and he declares support for that event. I think Nigeria is moving towards that direction, where legislators are actually the ones that determine what happens in countries. Check out all functional countries. If all functional countries are functional to the extent at which their legislators are functional, all dysfunctional countries are as dysfunctional as their legislators. So it is a privilege to have a legislation of the standing of the deputy chair of that committee. We are grateful, sir. We thank you for the kind of remarks that you have made. The remarks that you have made, you came up even with facts and figures. So when we talk about research and development, especially to using our natural resources, it bothers some of us when people think twice about it. Because most of us who are alive today, we all came out of villages that don't have hospitals. Our parents, they boiled plant bats, roots, and different things, and gave us to drink. But now that we know how to aeroplane, we are as if those things are smelling. What is wrong with us? They call it slave mentality. We must come out of that kind of a mentality. And that is what we are driving at NIPRID. That is one of the reasons why we are gathered here today. Let me not preempt the man who is about to speak, because I know that when he speaks, he doesn't look at people's eyes. He speaks as an intellectual. While I prepare to welcome on stage the keynote speaker, I earlier told us that the chief of party to USB Nigeria will be joining us after his meeting in US. He is on the panel now. Pharmacist Suga Mopa, you are welcome. We are now going to take the keynote speaker, Professor Ray Ozulwa. I did not know some things about Ray. My DG has said some things, but Ray is my own personal friend, and he didn't tell me that. We will discuss that later. Professor Ozulwa, I yield the mic to you virtually.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. You can share your Professor.
Hello?
Professor Ozulwa. Yes,
okay,
you
sorry.
can share your screen, Professor Ozulwa.
Okay. Yes. I can share my screen, right?
Yes, go ahead and share your screen.
Okay.
Good.
can go on. What to say about this thing is something. Hello, Prof. Can you see my slides?
Sure, we can see your slides.
You can see my slides?
Yes, you can see your slide.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I can put it on the slideshow. Okay, you can see the slides.
Yes, it's on slideshow now.
Okay, thank you very, very much. Protocols first. Let me thank the honorable member for having time to attend this webinar. He has deputized very well for the substantive chair of the House. I also want to thank the coordinator of this webinar for the very kind words he said about me, and I wish my wife listened in. I'm sure her love for me would increase by some proportion. I want to thank fellow panelists. I want to thank the participants, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very interesting topic, and I want to congratulate Professor Mantis Emeje, who does very good things for coming up with this topic. Now, I'll be speaking to us on the topic using certain headings: Nigerian healthcare indices, the state of our pharmaceutical sector, medicine insecurity, and then we look at research and development as a panacea, then conclusion and then recommendations afterwards. That is our country, population of some 200 million people. We are buffeted, we are uh, affected, we are disturbed, we are, call it what you will, by several things: infections there, lack of potable water as a reason for people being ill, accidents as a reason why people will have to use drugs, nutritional deficiencies, and so on and so forth. Now, still on our health indices, life expectancy at birth is about 61.2 years. Under 5 mortality, as of now, is about 117.2 per 1,000. Main causes of death, mainly infectious diseases such as malaria, diarrhea, and lower respiratory tract infections. Then our health facilities are inadequate and state of disrepair more often than not. So like every nation, Nigerians will need medicines because people will be ill. Now, I've put there the top pharmaceutical exporters. I'd like us to look at Germany. Germany exports some 62.3 billion worth of drugs every year, and they account for 16.8% of total world export. 1 to 10, Nigeria is not in the radar. 1 to 80, as much as mine data could source, I could source 1 to 80, Nigeria not in the radar as well. But India is number 10. I'd like us to also look at India closely. 40.8% export in terms of the $40.8 billion worth of exports every year, and then 3.8% of total world export. Now, amongst those countries, number 11 would have been Denmark. And we'll find that Denmark, 3-year export growth, Denmark has been able to achieve nearly 300% increase over 3 years in terms of growth in pharmaceuticals, and then followed by India, 22.5%, and then the third position is occupied by Germany, about 20% over 3 years.
I think he has lost network. Okay, he's back.
I'm checking. Hello. I apologize for
Sorry
that.
about that.
Sure.
Yes, we understand some of these things.
Yes, network fluctuation. Well, that's
Yeah.
sad. That's where we
Exactly.
are. Okay. I'll be there shortly. Okay, I think this is where we left it. I don't know. Maybe I go back a bit again. I've spoken to this. I said Nigeria is a major importer of medicines, 80% import, 20% local manufacture. And it will interest us to know that this 20% local manufacture is actually secondary manufacture. In other words, virtually everything is imported into this country. All we just do is to use machines.
Okay, I think we should share it for him so that he speaks to it.
Yeah. Prof.
I think we should share it for you, then you now speak to it.
Yeah, it's okay. Can you see the slides again?
Yes, your slide is up.
Yeah, it's all right. I apologize for the network. That's how it is sometimes. All right. So I was saying that India is our main source of import to the country. I'll try and be faster so that I'll be accommodated within the time. US follows, and then Germany is third. Now, this is the time in which we need vaccines. And Africa accounts for just 1% of world vaccine production. The remaining 99%, the rest of the world. And only 12 million doses are manufactured in Africa. Capacity. Current African manufacturers of vaccine, you will see for yourself, Senegal, our West African neighbor, Tunisia, Egypt, Ethiopia, South Africa, all of these are the countries in Africa. Just now, where vaccines are being produced, each country with very limited capacity. Now, the points are that Nigeria is mainly import dependent. There's in medicine supply. Distribution is very chaotic, and the regulation and use of medicines are suboptimal. Nigeria suffers from medicine insecurity. That's what I want to bring out. Now, what is medicine security? We want to define it as the assurance of the availability of genuine, safe, and efficacious medicines produced in line with good manufacturing practices with a maintenance of integrity all through the supply chain from the manufacturer down to the consumer. Or we can put it simply as saying it is the opposite of medicine insecurity. That's what you should have read here. You know, it's the opposite of medicine insecurity. I mean, that's small error. Now, what is medicine insecurity, which is the mirror image of medicine security? It is the absence of consistent access to safe, effective, affordable medicines for an active, healthy life by the majority of the population in a given region. In this instance, Nigeria. Simply, it is the inability of a nation to meet most of its needs in terms of medicines. We are not able to meet our needs. So imagine if Nigeria was at war with another country that produces the medicines that we use, what will happen to us? Just now, the vaccines that we are using is sourced from India. And India, because of the difficulties they are having, have said that they are not going to export any of their vaccines out again, any of their medicines for fighting COVID-19 out. So you now see that we are indeed in bad shape. We are not medicine secure. Now, the signs and symptoms of medicine insecurity include the following: unavailability of prescribed medicines due to poor access. And of course, there is chaotic distribution network, as we know. Missed dose of an essential medicine due to high cost. Therapeutic failure due to substandard medicines. And then increased cases of addiction due to porosity of borders to substances of abuse. These are some of the symptoms. And when you see them, you can tell that a particular country or region is not medicine. People have to go reach a particular pharmaceutical importer who has to place an order for the drug, and we have to wait for some days before the drug comes. That shows medicine insecurity. And then, of course, when insecurity is there, you try. Cost patent restrictions, and don't blame any, that's expected. Patent restrictions, lack of raw materials for local manufacture, inability to meet international pre-qualification requirements. The first three slides, I suppose, are R&D dependent. The rest are less R&D dependent. Lack of required infrastructure for local manufacture, government apathy in terms of incentives and funding towards local manufacture, poor implementation of health policies, and then, of course, corruption. There are consequences of medicine insecurity: high cost of medicines, faking and adulteration, substance abuse and misuse, therapeutic failures I mentioned earlier, increased morbidity and mortality, because when these medicines are not there, people are more likely to be ill, or they die from the illness from which they've been diagnosed. Loss of foreign exchange, heavy reliance on other nations, and I have termed that pseudo-independence. You cannot be truly independent if you are not able to meet your medicine needs. So pseudo false independence, we have a false sense of independence. A country that imports 80%, because the 20% manufacture is simply based on what is imported from other countries. So just do secondary manufacturing. So we know that Nigeria is an untapped place for the introduction of new medicines, natural resources for synthesis of linear alkyl benzenes. I recall that when we were in the pharmacy school, many of us could synthesize so many drugs, at least on paper. Because we were told Element Petrochemical Company was there, the Kaduna refineries, and all of these linear alkyl benzene, 1-2-step reactions, you form a particular molecule, and then we're going to talk about, how to put some side chains and all of that. So we had high hopes, but these hopes have never seen the light of day. But we still do have our petroleum as a source for linear alkyl benzenes as starting materials for synthesis of drugs. We are rich in inorganic minerals. There's no question about that. Nigeria has a variety of plants for herbal medicines, fauna, and what have you. We have plenty of it. A good source for marine-based natural products as well. High-quality pharmaceutical scientists, some of whom are in this audience, biomedical scientists, and of course, clinicians of what repute. So we have all that is needed. And it's been argued that not many countries in this world are as blessed as Nigeria. So the question is, why are we so stunted when it comes to medicine safety, or why are we not able to provide for ourselves when it comes to medicines? Now, there are aspects of R&D for medicines that should be of interest. Well, we usually be interested in the active pharmaceutical ingredients, the APIs, These are mainly synthetic organic molecules, but we know that we can also take advantage of the herbal medicines, about 10,000, I'm told, in our environment, and we're going to make good medicines out of all of these. So we can also look into the excipients. And I know that the research into excipients, binders, disintegrants, syrups, and all of that from our local products. They are legion. Very many researches have been conducted in this area. Why are we not able to produce these ones for our own local needs? So we can continue research and development in that angle. Basic pharmacological and toxicological research is an aspect. Of course, clinical trials. These are the angles in which R&Ds for medicines are usually directed. Now, the causes of poor R&D, poor funding by government and private sector, the art of export. We just like to grub and grub and grub, take what comes from the other country. Nobody is thinking of how to do something that can be, sold. Everything, including everything, nearly everything that I'm putting on now. And that can be said for virtually every one of us. It's imported, either wholly or at least partially, small part of it. Infrastructural support, electricity not there. Now we've been having difficulty with connectivity, I'm told, because we have our own satellite out there. If we had our own satellite, we will not be having this difficulty. You want to connect through MTN, it has to go through satellite, and before it gets to the satellite, all had our own direct connection. So infrastructural support is not there, water supply is not there, and so on for incentives. Then a fifth factor, which is debatable, whether brain drain is actually affecting our inability to have people like Martins talking about brain drain. That is I've put in there the spending of some countries. And you find that US is topmost. Well, they say they are number one in the world. No country compares to them. But China is struggling very hard. Arrow and D $32.8 billion on yearly basis. Little wonder that every hand fan, every ceiling fan, every air conditioner, virtually everything that we see around is imported from China. These guys are determined. Where are we? As far as I can tell, from number 1 to 100 of the list of nations pending for R&D is not included. Let's focus on Africa. Egypt tops the chart, followed by South Africa, and you'll be amazed that countries such as Ethiopia, Uganda, Sudan, Botswana, amount of money voted for R&D. Let's not make mistake about this. Looking through the 2021 national budget, and I saw in the office of the Federation and the office of the seeing this, and the institute where researchers are supposed to do research institute. I've put NIPRID here. The DG of NIPRID is here, soft-spoken, man with good diction. He spoke at the outset. He may wish to dispute this, but I got this from the 2000 federal allocation, and then 2001 too. and then for 2021, 400 million. Years of pandemic, if you will. See the surge in capital expenditure for NIMA, 3.5 billion. And then National Medicine Development Agency, well, there is also increase, right? But the increase is indeed with NIMA, increase the capital expenditure for NIMA, but not so high. In terms of percentage, NIMA and the Natural Development Agency, they have the greater percentages of increase, but no subhead research. 0.000. Now, the office of head of service of the federation, 50 million, whatever the amount that is in there. How come a research does not have a thing that should be a grant on yearly? Think of it as a capital project in which maybe release is usually less than 50%, maybe 38%, between 38 and 50%. Yet this capital it as a grant that every 100 million NIPRIT for research. It's not that at the end of the year you begin to ask coffers and they use it to do basic research. Nigeria will not be where it is now in terms of medicine insecurity. Now, sources of R&D funding in other parts of the world. Let's look at the United States of America. 66.7% of R&D is funded by the industry. Federal government accounts for 22.2%. That shows that we just cannot rely entirely on government, expect government to be the only one funding R&D. The academia research institutions, they also contribute their quota to R&D from internally generated revenue. Foundations, voluntary health associations, professional societies. I was glad to learn that PSN is looking forward to asking Nigerians to donate 1,000 naira for certain things, research purposes. And if every Nigerian, if 100 million Nigerians donates 1,000, tell what they come to, that can be used for meaningful research in our own medicines. State and local governments are not left out in America. In the industry are interested. Why is the industry failing in R&D in Nigeria? They will tell you that they have the education tax, which is also often referred to as the education trust fund. They also worry, they complain about other taxes, sundry taxes by government, regulations, antitrust issues. Then, of course, the average Nigerian company believes that all you just need to do is to bring in the drugs, and then NAFDAC, get the thing registered by NAFDAC, and then you are into money. And with that kind of mentality, local efforts are suffocated. Let's take India as a case study. India, as we speak now, accounts for 50% of global demand for vaccines. The vaccines available in Nigeria, the AstraZeneca vaccine that Nigeria is using, is manufactured in India, imported from India. So India accounts for 50% of global demand for vaccines. 40% of generic demand in US. As great as US is, they depend on India for their generic drug supply. 25% of all medicines in UK will come from India. 2% of all generic medicines from India. So sales tertiary education tax is 2%, I suppose, of net profit. In India, R&D is 20% of sales by the industry. In Nigeria, it is 2% of, I suppose, net profit. Now, India is not stopping there. They're looking forward to being the world leader in medicines. They have 5 new ways that they wish to go. First, they are accelerating quality and compliance through lab digitization. Second, they are adopting good laboratory practice as key to R&D lifecycle management. The third is that they are adopting new R&D models to boost innovations. New models. There are new models, you know. A, a new word being coined, and it means that people who are rivals, companies that are rivals, competitors, they can actually cooperate, and that cooperation becomes mutually beneficial to them. And it's possible in India, as they are imagining, to outsource R&D. For example, nothing wrong with JSK asking NIPRID to drive a particular process, or asking University of Benin to drive a particular process in terms of R&D. That's outsourcing. India, yet again, the Indian government's commitment to R&D in budget 2021 is encapsulated in this quotation. And I'll read. Say, with a considerable focus on healthcare, the government's intention in driving the investment in advancements in biotechnology, smart medicines, virtual and augmented reality, artificial intelligence, IoT, in healthcare are likely to gain momentum. So that's a country in which the government sees need for R&D, in spite of the effort by the industry. As we speak, ladies and gentlemen, chairman, everyone, India is far more medicine secure than Nigeria. And that is our country. By way of conclusion and recommendation, that's our country. The tortoise, fastest animal in the world. So we seem to have taken the nature of the tortoise in terms of our medicine security. We are slow, but I worry if we are steady as well. And I like to quote Shakespeare in Julius Caesar at 1:3. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, in ourselves, underlings. If we paraphrase, we can say the Nigerian in our stars, but in our and only on Saturday I was reminded as we speak now, the world is in crisis over COVID-19. Nigeria is adversely affected. The advantage of what we are experiencing now, insecurity around for our nation. Dollar question. So, funds for institutes. This fund should come as grant, yearly grant, 200 million grant back for NIPRID for research. It's not more DG whether the money has been well expended or not. Second point is that R&D has to be incentivized, particularly when the R&D is based, is focused on our local materials, herbal products, bringing out new molecules from our plants and so on and so forth. Third, tax rebate for companies that give research grants for R&D. Just now, I'm not aware of any company in Nigeria that will say, okay, Rio Zolo, you are working in this aspect. would like to fund your research to this level, to that level, or to say to NIPRI, we will give you this amount of money because you are working, you know, from government. So I want to thank everyone for me. Specifically thank the management and staff of NIPRIT, my very dear friend, dependable friend, Professor Martins Emeje. He's younger than I am. He's also junior to me in the profession, but you'll be amazed how much I have learned from him over the very many years that we have been very good friends, and I keep learning from him. And as the DG said, beyond his witty nature, he's a very, very intelligent man. I want to thank them all. The slides have been put together. Myself and my mentees, Dr. Moses Bariweni, Dr. Olakweju Bolanle, the two of them are in the UK, and then one pharmacist, Eberio Para, also my mentee is in University College Hospital, Ibadan, where she's doing her internship. So I give glory to God. That's the motto of my secondary school, ad majorem gloriam Dei, to the greater glory of God. And so I want to say thank you all for listening. God bless you. I'm here with you as we interact further. So thank you, and thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Professor Ozolua. I can't thank you enough. And my head was swelling when you were saying so many beautiful things about me. I wish I was looking for a job now. People would just line up to give me a job. Yeah. Thank you very much. That was I know that everyone on this platform is excited listening to Professor Ozolua. You know, he says it the way it is. That's one of the reasons why we are highly bonded, because I don't know how not to say it the way it is. We have to say it the way it is so that we can move forward. Thank you. We will get back to this. The chairman is very attentive and he's heard so many things that you have said. In fact, we'll get back to that. Let's listen to other presenters first. But I'm sure my chairman heard when you said that there should be money devoted for research. You call people, you commission people, and you demand for result. You don't demand for receipt. We demand for receipt too much in this country. They give people money to do research. They say they should go and bring receipt of what they bought. Then when they go and bring receipt, they give them clearance. Instead of demanding for result. Countries where that demand for result are moving forward. We are demanding for receipts, so receipts are being printed. You know, we have to change. We must change. And then there must be money for research. It's the money for building is different. Money for constructing road is different. Look, you need good research to do good roads. You need good research to do any country that does not do research is going to collapse. It's like an aeroplane without a pilot. Okay, so we will thank you, Professor Ozolua. We take the next presenter. My chairman, we take the next presenter quickly. After that, we take the next presenter again. Then we open. I hand over to you to open for discussion, probably after your own snippet. So I will now call on our own chairman of the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria, Professor Eti Mora, for his presentation. My chairman, sir, are you there? If you unmute yourself, sir. Hello, sir. Can you unmute yourself? I think it's muted. Or should I take, okay, can we take Chief of Party? Mopa, are you ready? I can take you so that we don't.
Okay.
Mopa, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so let's take the Chief of Party to USP, that is pharmacist Mopa Esuga. He is the current boss, the director, the head, the one that tell them what to do and what not to do. And the only person, Honorable Sir, this man you are seeing, his salary is not in Naira, his salary is in dollars.
It's not possible.
And everything he does it in dollars. He's the only person that does things in dollars. Over to you, Chief of Party, sir. You're welcome.
Okay. Good afternoon, distinguished professionals. Oh, okay.
I'm back.
Okay, sir. Over to you, sir.
Okay.
Over,
okay. Okay, sorry, sir. So, my chairman, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so we can do your own presentation now.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, the DG and CEO of NIPRID, my own younger brother, Professor Martins, co-panelist, participant at this webinar conference. Let me begin by thanking the organizers of this webinar meeting, that is the management of the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development, for the invitation to serve as a panelist and to share my thoughts with colleagues in respect of the topic, research and development, Panacea for medicine insecurity. This topic, to my mind, is both appropriate and timely, especially in a highly dynamic industry as the pharmaceutical industry. I congratulate NIPRID as the nation's foremost institute for research and development of pharmaceutical products on this day. I recall that in 1988, that is 33 years ago, the first chairman of the NIPRID board, the late Dr. Fred Adenika, organized a workshop in the Transcorp Hilton Hotel, Abuja. At that time, it was called Nikon Noga Hilton Hotel, with some key stakeholders in pharmacy for the purpose of charting a course of action in terms of policy, formulations, and implementations of the mandate of NIPRID. To my pleasant surprise, I was invited as a participant for the workshop. At that time, I was the chief pharmacist and head of pharmacy department of the now defunct Kaduna State Health Management Board. Now, I recall vividly, Mr. Chairman, a recurring word at the end of the two-day workshop. That was the word linkages. The participants all agreed that there was a need for the newly established NIPRID to establish linkages with similar institutes and all agencies in Nigeria and abroad towards the speedy achievement of the core objectives of the institute, which was the development of pharmaceutical products from the abundance of the flora that Nigeria was blessed with. To carry this, I have carried this need for linkage by NIPRID as a gospel and propagated the same in all these years, even though I was not a staff of NIPRID. So to me, this is a golden opportunity for me to resynthesize what actually happened in 1988 in the Nikon Noga Hilton Hotel, when the chairman of the first board of NAFDAC, Dr. Adenika, convened that particular workshop. And I've also said it several times that I think NIPRID, and I believe is doing very well, but I think we need to look at that word again, linkages. And link up with so that Council or the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria, the DG, Dr. Adigwe, Professor Adigwe of NAPRI is a statutory member of the PCN Governing Council. And of course, PCN and NAPRI are neighbors here in Abuja, and only separated by a wall. The invitation for me as the chairman of the PCN to participate in this conference as a panelist is therefore a welcome development, and indeed an honor for me personally, and a rare privilege. I'm grateful. Now, let's look at medicines and their peculiarities in the health industry. I want to approach this from the perspective of what medicines are, and now how they are different from other items. Medicines, in whatever formulation, are either for prophylaxis, curative, or diagnostic purposes. A nation that cannot feed itself is an insecure one, just as a nation that cannot cater for the healthcare needs of its populace equally has serious security challenges. As the saying goes, a healthy nation is a wealthy nation. A good percentage of healthy people. The case with medicines and security of a nation is a very peculiar one. Can you hear me? Hello? 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 Good. Are you okay? Are you there?
We can hear you, Chair. Please go ahead. Yes. You're on mute. Can you unmute yourself?
Research of substances with medicinal importance leads to their development in accordance with laid down and acceptable protocols, clinical trials, ensuring safety and efficacy, and eventual deployment into healthcare system for patients or those in need. It is a good example. It is a good example of what is said from the laboratory to the market.
It's not because you're traveling, it's because you're owing us some documentation, which is critical that we have before you go
DG,
back.
Dr. Aduge. Hello?
Apologies for that.
Okay, DG. Okay, I want to approach this from the perspective of marketing. Marketing is a process of problem solving in which marketers attempt to identify and meet the needs of consumers. At the most fundamental level, marketing can be defined as exchanges between people in which something of value is traded for the purpose of satisfying needs and wants. The key elements of this definition are people, value, needs, wants, and exchange. Most modern medicines are developed by research in the laboratories of a multinational pharmaceutical company, and Nigeria is not an exception. We have about 200 pharmaceutical manufacturing companies in this at the moment. This company will market the drug in countries it has established marketing organizations, or may sell the right to produce or sell it to another company in those countries where it has not. Marketing therefore follows the trend of economics in respect of supply and demand. From the pharmaceutical manufacturing facilities, where medicines are produced in large quantities, or from pharmaceutical importation firms that import large quantities, the channel of distribution passes through wholesalers and eventually to where the pharmacist dispenses them, as in community pharmacies or hospital pharmacies. Here, the mode of marketing, especially for prescription medicines, is such that the aspect of personnel selling, which is any personal or oral presentation to customers as individuals or group, is utilized and is professionally known as medicine detailing through the use of pharmaceutical or what is locally called medical representatives. The superior features, the side effects, contraindications, likely interactions of the medicine being promoted in respect with other medicines, foods, diagnostic reagents, or indeed other diseases are brought to the attention of the prescribing physicians or dentists or other relevant members of the healthcare team by the pharmacist employed by the manufacturer or importer of the medicines, as the case may be. Besides the ethical dimension of promoting, that is by way of detailing medicines, especially prescription medicine, they have some peculiarities of their own within the context of the pharmaceutical industry in Nigeria. And I want to take a moment to look at the peculiarities of medicines as they are, that is, as opposed to other tangible items that are marketed elsewhere in the world. Now, all medicines in Nigeria must be registered by the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration Control. In other words, any product which is not registered by NAFDAC is a fake product. All medicines must be manufactured, sold, or dispensed in premises that have been approved, inspected, registered, and licensed by the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria. So products must be distributed along premises that have been licensed by the Pharmacists Council. The advertising and promotion of prescription medicines must only be in healthcare-related publications, that is in journals, and detailed by licensed pharmacists in compliance with good distribution practice. The pharmacist cannot dispense medicines beyond the quantities prescribed by the physician or the dentist. In other words, you cannot give more than what the pharmacist cannot dispense quantities beyond what the prescribing physician or dentist has actually prescribed. Narcotics and psychotropic medicines are dispensed by the pharmacist to the patients with entries made in poison and disposal register. This is another peculiarity of medicines to ensure that those medicines that have that are likely to be misused or have addictive tendencies are actually properly disposed in the register. Medicines have shaped lives beyond which they should never be dispensed or consumed. These peculiarities of medicines makes them delicate and only subject to handling by the appropriate professional, that is the pharmacist, who had actually manufactured them in the first place. Now, medicine insecurity. I'm happy that Professor Ozola has actually given us the definition of medicine insecurity, and I'm happy with that.
She came back yesterday, right?
Now, medicines are chemical formulations, as we all know, produced in their branded or generic form. Medicines, it is insecurity from a variety of standpoints, such as the following. I want us to look at how medicines face insecurity. And these are, to my mind, in the following areas. Competitions from other manufacturers producing the same branded or generic equivalent. It makes a particular brand or a generic insecure if the propensity of those companies making the same products, as we say in the industry, me too products, then certainly the security of that particular brand or generic equivalent is at risk. Producers of substandard, fake, and spurious medicines. This another poses challenges to authentic medicines. If you have substandard, fake, and spurious medicines, we all know about this country, about fake drugs and so on. Smugglers and those involved in an orthodox distribution system. Yes, this has been mentioned several times. The issue of a chaotic distribution system in present Nigeria, which the Pharmacists Council, along with NAFDAC, is seriously doing something about it in terms of introducing system approach to distribution. Advancements from technologies, since the industry is a dynamic one. Now again, a particular manufacturer cannot remain stagnant. There must be advancement in terms of the formulation. that is being produced. That's why we have products like double strength, sources like sustained release, and all these are actually advancements in technologies to improve on the product. Emergence of new diseases, identification of toxic side effects, adverse reports from drug regulatory agencies, e.g. NAFDAC, PCN, and NDA, in respect of particular medicine will make existing medicines relevant to begin to decline. Now, if, for instance, one or more of the drug regulatory agencies, which are NAFDAC, PCN, or NDA, actually make a pronouncement in terms of a particular medicine, and negatively speaking, that is, actually the relevance of that particular medicine begin to decline. For instance, the withdrawal of registration of a particular product will make its relevance to decline. The product life cycle of every medicine is one phenomenon that confers insecurity to medicines. Now, this is an area which is, I think, is very important. Every product, every pharmaceutical product goes through 4 stages in its life cycle. We have the introductory stages, when the product is being introduced to the market, then the process of growth, then the maturity when it plateaus, and then the decline. This is the product life cycle that every pharmaceutical product goes through, and every medicine passes through it. The threat of insecurity heightens, and eventually the medicine ceases to be relevant. That is, as the product moves through from introductory to growth to maturity and decline, it is prone to insecurity by competitors in the market, as far as that particular pharmacological brand is concerned. Resistance of the causative organism of the disease to the medicine, especially the chemotherapeutics and antibiotics types, confers a typical insecurity with any medicine. In other words, if you have a chemotherapeutic agent or an antibiotic, and then which is actually prone to resistance by the organism, naturally the relevance of it in terms of combating that particular causative organism will begin to decline. And with specific example from the product life cycle, we find that as the product moves through the growth stages, competitors start to enter the market to gain a share of the profits. This puts pressure on prices and profits. So this is an area which every manufacturer is very concerned at the growth stages, because competitors will now start to enter because they have seen that that particular product has potential of making profits. The relationship between cost of production of medicines, the markup percentages allocated by the middlemen, and the eventual retail price of medicines at the community pharmacies or hospital pharmacies is a phenomenon that is very critical in addressing the survival or otherwise of the product in the market. The well-articulated strategies put in place by the manufacturers notwithstanding. In other words, as we talk about the stages of product life cycle, which is very important, especially the introductory, the growth stages, we have to look at the cost of medicines themselves. That is the production cost, because there is a relationship between cost and price. You have the fixed cost, you have the variable cost, which gives the total cost. Then, of course, since the products, medicines go through middlemen, like the wholesalers, and then eventually to the end users. The end users are retailers, that is community pharmacists and hospital pharmacies. These are the retail end. What happens at the hospital pharmacy and the retail pharmacy or community pharmacy is actual practice. Whereas what happens at the left-hand side, that is manufacturing and importation, these are the sources of pharmaceutical products. And these are commercial activities, not so much as professional practices. So the percentages and the eventual price of retail price of the medicine at the community and hospital pharmacy levels is actually a phenomenon that confers security or insecurity of the particular product. Because if it's such that the product is marked up beyond the propensity of the populace to buy it at the retail level or the hospital level, it means the importance of that particular product declines and another product moves in to fill in that void. In conclusion, in concluding this discussion, rigorous research and development, and I agree 100%, remains the only panacea for medicines as to their products, improvement, generational advancement, and such technologies that will confer on the product better adherence by the patient or user. The drug regulatory agencies have roles to play, as recently seen globally, that is, in respect of the speed with which the COVID-19 vaccines were approved, with waivers of certain components of the protocols to enable mankind win the war against the coronavirus. And today, humanity is better of it. I want to add, again, in concluding, keep on with the gospel propagation, like I said earlier on, in respect of this word linkage. I want, in advancing research and development, there are pockets of excellent research studies, especially in our universities, in the faculties of pharmaceutical sciences, at thesis at PhD levels, MScs, and even good projects that I want to propose that NAPRID should exploit these pockets of research studies. In other words, NAPRID should designate desk officers in the faculties of pharmacy in our universities so as to continuously identify these research studies with potential of being developed into products eventually, or funding, so to speak. With the 22 faculties of pharmacy in Nigeria offering Bachelor of Degree or PharmD programs, I think it's not too much to ask for NIPRI to consider this, so that there will be collation on a periodic basis. These research studies from the final year students, those with the MScs, presenting the MScs or the PhDs. I want to once again thank the DG for this opportunity to share my thoughts with the panelists in this conference, and I thank the chairman, and thank you all, and God bless.
Thank you very much, and that was the voice of our own chairman of the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria, His Highness Professor A.T. Mora. Prof, sir, can you please call the name of that title again by the Sultan of Sokoto?
That title, Martins, is called Kayayan Sarkin Muslimi. Kaya, can you try to come on, Martins? You are from Kogi State. You should be able to pronounce that. Kayayan Sarkin Muslimi. Actually, it means confident to the Sultan. Yes, a confident.
Okay, a confidant of the Sultan.
Yes, that's what it means.
Okay. Congratulations, sir. On behalf of all conference attendees and pharmacists, your constituency, congratulate you. We won't be tired of congratulating you. And we look forward to you, as usual, utilizing those platforms, those rare and privileged platforms, to moving the profession forward.
We'll do our best, Prof.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
While we will go to the last presenter, because we said we are going to end this conference by 1. Sorry, it's not going to end by 1 because we started about 10 minutes late. So we will take about 10 minutes or so to see what will happen. At the end of this presentation, depending on a general outlay or general look, we will see if we can have brief discussion, because we need to have some brief discussion. Is the chairman's hand anyway, because I know that as a legislator, he may want to go to somewhere, but he told me actually that he has made sacrifice for us today because he wants to ensure that new things begin to happen. So thank you, sir. So let's now listen.
Prof.
Thank you, sir.
Prof.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In as much as I want to dedicate my whole time today for you, yes, I have another engagement at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock.
Okay, sir. We'll finish.
And I need to be there.
We are going to finish now in the next few minutes so that you can prepare for the meeting, sir.
Okay, I'm here.
Because it's important for you to listen to the third person, then summarize everything so that the key points that you are going to hammer on, so you heard it yourself. It's not Professor Meji and Dr. Adigwe that have been bombarding you in your office. You also heard from people from other parts of the country. Before I forget, our colleagues from Australia, from India, from China, and from the United States of America, I'm sorry, I'm unable to mention your names now. I'm seeing all your messages. Thank you for hanging on. We also rely on you very well. Like Professor Zubwa said earlier, we need you to make your contributions back home. I do not belong to the group that said that brain drain is our problem. No, there's nothing called brain drain being our problem. Our problem is our problem. It is local, and we must solve it. When we begin to solve our problems, those of you there, you will also run back to come and enjoy. We will dig it, and we will get it done. Over to you, the Chief of Party to US.
Thank you, Professor Martins. All protocols duly observed. This is a very great initiative, and the little time I've spent in the meeting now, I've listened a lot and very keenly. It's clear to my mind that we know the problems, we know the issues. And my Oga DG Naipri, greetings to you, sir. Dr. Obi was also one of the earliest proponents for medicine security in Nigeria in his former life as the executive secretary of the Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Association. You know, and back then, both him and Dr. Okiapa were championing the cause for medicine security. The need to protect the local industry, the need to boost local manufacturing here in Nigeria. That was a few years ago. As at that time, I'm not sure, Doc, did you know that Corona will set in? I don't think so. But then it was clear that that's the way to go, and that's the path to go. And Corona has come and has changed the world, all right? It has spread at an alarming speed, infecting millions and bringing economic activity to near standstill as countries continue to impose tight restrictions on movement, blah, 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 restrictions on commodities moving out of their borders. With all these things happening, what do we have on our hands? The health and humanitarian toll continues to grow. Also, the economic damage is already evident, you know, as it represents the largest economic shock the world has experienced in decades. This is an excerpt from one of the World Bank publications recently. It's the biggest shock to date. We hope we'll not have shocks of this magnitude. Having said that, with COVID, every region has been subjected to what? Substantial downgrades in terms of economic growth. And of course, the region where we are in cannot escape it. That's sub-Saharan Africa, you know. So our growth was pegged at maximum of 2.8%. compared to our colleagues, our brothers in the northern region of our zone, of our continent, they are even luckier. Their growth has been pegged at about 4.2%, you know. So these downturns are hopefully will be reversed, but it will take a lot of work and it takes a lot of time to be able to meet up. And how do we achieve some of these things? Because all we have said today, they are not new, but what is the vehicle that will help us actualize it? You know, so policies to rebuild both in short and long term, entailing strengthening health services and putting in place targeted stimulus measures to help reignite growth is key. I am aware that the government of Nigeria has been trying to come up with palliatives to be able to help the situation in the economy. But today, the issue of medicine security is very, very real with us. At this same time last year, there was a lot of scramble for vitamin C. There was scramble for hand sanitizers to the extent that I was reliably informed that it was being mooted. I don't know if it eventually happened that they were lobbying for waivers to import hand sanitizers. We then, in my own organization, we liberally, we actually sent out hand sanitizing kits, production kits, to various platforms that we had access to, the NAIP, PNG Man, and directly to manufacturers. You know, so that is how serious the situation we are in. I've also listened to the various definitions of medicine security, which is very apt. The WHO also here speaks about the concept of security or supply of medicines. So improving access to medicines is also a key component of Sustainable Development Goal SDG 3, which is to do what? Ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all ages. All right, so nonetheless, estimations show that worldwide, 1 person in 3 has no guaranteed access to medicines they need. That's very key. And I listened to Prof. Mora. Due respect, sir, I'm also your student. Those days back in Zaria, you always come in from Kaduna to take us on ethics and law and ethics and pharmacy management. So one of your products is also presenting, sir. So it's not just access to medicines, but access to quality medicines. Very, very key. And those are also factors that can affect security of medicines. Where you don't have the medicines available at the right time and at the right place and at the right price, people are likely to go for other options that may find available. Availability and affordability of medicines, both in public and private sectors, are important indicators of access to medicines. And this relation has been recognized also by the WHO. You know, so we've talked about medicine security. Another factor that influences availability and affordability of medicines, another health technology, is that many countries, most times, what they import. And some have argued that this dependence on imports puts what? Security of supply at risk, as we have in Nigeria today. And of course, the previous national drug policy had said that one of the targets for Nigeria then was we should be able to produce at least 75% of our essential medicines needs. Many years after that, we're still far away from achieving that target. It is interesting to note that Abuja city, Nigeria specifically, was a venue of the AU summit that gave a mandate which led to the birth of the pharmaceutical manufacturing plan for Africa. And it's a pity since January 2005 to date, we cannot say that the industry has grown to the level that the aspirations of that summit had. However, all hope is not lost. With the likes of Professor Meje championing what we are doing today, I'm comforted that there is hope. But having said that, so that this meeting will not be like, as they say in literature, holding talks. We're not here to hold talks, but we're here to match our words with action. You know, Professor Ray gave a great treatise on the aspect of research and development. And NIPRID is one such organization that has been positioned by government. However, paucity of funds is a challenge. I listened to Professor Ray's presentation very keenly. The industry, because I'm a product of the industry, they have challenges. They have challenges. As you are aware, every component for manufacturing in Nigeria today is imported. It's imported. And I will even say the water that you may think is free is also imported. You know why? The chemicals for treating and processing are imported. So that virtually almost everything is imported. So they are grappling with those things, and then sometimes turnover investment is minimal. Their profit margins and the profits they make is actually minimal. You know, and that is where some of those challenges come. And that is where government needs to play a key role. Yes, I know we said the industry needs to play a role. They need to pay more tax, fund research, and so on and so forth. Nigeria today is basically a generic market. Most of the molecules the manufacturers are making today, they are old molecules. They are still old molecules. You know, the newer ones, you don't see them, most of them are not locally manufactured. And that could be an area of opportunity between the academia, the research institutes, and the industry. My take here is that I think there is need for the academia to market what they are doing with the industry. There are a lot of issues happening there, and I think if we can market our offer very well, the industry will be willing to engage with organizations like NIPRID as well as the academia. If not, what you find happening over there is they will bring in someone from Southeast Asia, and then he will do some abracadabra with them. The first 3, 4, 5 batches that they will produce will be okay. But once he leaves, because there is no process understanding, there is no product knowledge, what happens? By the time they start producing, after every 3 batches, they have to rework. After every 5 batches, they have to rework. These are all challenges that are out there in the industry that I think they are low-hanging fruits, both for NIPRID and the academia to help the industry address. The government of Nigeria holds the ace. I agree, we will pay taxes and so on and so on, but the government plays a major role. In 2006, that was my very first time of traveling to India. And I stayed with my host. He refused me to lodge in a hotel. How did we meet? He came to our company then, and there were some supplies he made to us as microcrystalline cellulose. And we were using it for one of our top brands then in Swiffer. And we found out that he had specs. And of course, I was in charge, and I was like, well, sorry, there's no way we could use this material for the product. And you know the way it goes, the management, Mopa, what can we do? Okay, maybe we should buy sieve. And I said, no, it's not going to work. What needs to happen is that we have to buy from another source. It simply means that this supplier cannot give us the right quality of material that we needed. And then eventually, we wrote a report, and he came down to Nigeria. We had meetings and so on and so on. Cut the long story short, he is a supplier of materials, pharmaceutical active ingredients to Nigeria and other African countries. And he told me something. He said, when I got there, I saw that Tata is a big company. They have several models of Tata that we have not seen here in Nigeria, even back then. But he was driving a Japanese car, and he was telling me that, look, those of them who do international businesses, they are giving waivers to buy foreign cars. And guess what? Government sponsors them for trade fairs. So, I mean, I don't know, sir, with all due respect to the honorable parliamentarian here, these are things that hopefully, sir, with due respect, that in your committee, we should begin to look at. Government, for me, in Nigeria, has a major role to play. The monies has to come from government, one way or the other. If we prioritize it, then somehow budgetary allocations should be made available to the agencies that need them. Looking at Professor Ray's slides, it's a pity. It's a pity. I mean, when I saw the budget allocation for research is zero. So what are we talking about now? So because most of the issues have been discussed, I just want to give a perspective to it and to say that we cannot hold talks. We have to act. Yeah, and yes, PSN can take this initiative, engaging stakeholders. From the presentation, PSM is asking Nigerians to donate 1,000 each, maybe monthly. I don't know. At least every Nigerian who is working can donate. But I want to know how many of us pharmacists have paid that 1,000. How many of us pharmacists have paid, and how much do we have in our coffers? Let us start from us and lead by that example. With all due respect to my orgas, I'm raising my hands up. So this is a very good initiative. Like I said, forgive me, Professor Emeji, I will send you my slides later on. Okay. But these are my thoughts, and I just feel that rather than holding talks, the reality is the reality. Government has a role to play. We have to get them to that position where they take responsibility. Because if that enabling environment is not created, there isn't much we can really achieve. Production of API is not that cheap. It involves a lot of investment that needs to come up. I know that NIPRI has done some things there. How can that be upskilled? How can that be upskilled? What can government do? How can government create that connection with the private sector for those things to be upskilled for the sake of our people? However, having said that, for organizations like NIPRI, I think if you could come up with a good concept note, some of those things could be forwarded to higher quarters with some development agencies, and then we can see how some of those supports can also be provided. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Over, sir.
Thank you. Party from pharmacist Suga Mopa for that, your perspective. Sorry, I was cutting you because we need to end this conference so that our chairman can go for his program at 2 p.m. I know that there's a very serious program at the National Assembly by 2 p.m. Even my DG is going to attend that program. And he's also itching because the road from Idu to National Assembly may take him almost 1 hour. So he has been itching on his table that he wants to go. So by the way, we said the conference was going to end at 1. But I want to thank all of us. But before we go, I give the chairman the floor so that maybe for 5, maybe because by 1:30 we can close. So maybe for the next 5 to 7 minutes, you can give opportunity to yourself and the panelists to do some wrap up on our takeaway from this conference. I am shifting my own presentation to the next conference coming in June so that we don't take too much time at this conference. Over to you, my chairman, sir.
Thank you, Prof. First of all, I want to say thank you to Dr. Adigwe. He has done something by convening this summit. He has involved the committee to see firsthand the problems and what we need to do to really do away with these problems. And it's making a very critical impression on me, and as per to what the House needs to do. And I'm going to declare here on behalf of my principal that I want to assure you that this will not be talk alone. We are going to make sure that as a committee, we bring even Dr. Adigwe, the ministry, and the committee, both the committees of both Senate and House of Reps, to sit down and let us map the way forward. Going on from here. That's what we are going to do. That's what I can assure you that before the next budget, we should do this and conclude it. See, all you have said here, from Professor Osolua to Professor Mora and to my brother Isuga, it's the same thing we've been saying, and it's so clear. We need money for research and development. We really need money for research and development. Whoever is not doing it is not fit to live. It's as simple as that. We are just living on borrowed times by not doing anything, by not spending our money and spending in that direction. We cannot produce anything if we are not researching. Look, I went to Yaba where we were producing vaccines before. Now, we are not even producing pure water there. I met Professor Tomori there. That was the director of the center when they were producing. And he's the chairman of the board of the company now. The old man was almost practically shedding tears. Why should we take ourselves through this route as a country? And I think we are determined under the chairmanship of my principal to make sure we do our own bit before we leave this house. You know, we want to make sure that things change to the extent that when we even go, there won't be any possibility for them to reverse what we have started, other than to progress on what we have started. I really want to say thank you to everybody that presented. I told you, I came to learn, to hear, and see what we can do from our own bit.
Thank you, sir.
To what we are discussing. I really, Professor Osolu has put a lot of those things in graphics, and you know, he delivered a very good presentation that really hits me so hard. How can Nigeria not be exporting anything and we are importing everything? It's the same thing everywhere. Why must they continue to be this? A country that is so gifted like our country, we are not suffering from human capacity. We are not probably suffering from, lack of funds as such. But I know definitely that this country is not so rich that they paint it. But at the same time, we are not spending the way we should spend. On the critical issues like R&D, we are not even looking at it. I promise you that this committee, henceforth, moving forward, we will try and look at R&D as the affect drugs and other health-related matters. It's really nice you bringing me to this table, to this summit. I'm so happy. I sat here throughout and I listened to everybody. And I want you to please let us come up with a report of this summit. The presentations, we want the e-copy on our side. We will sit down too as a committee. We'll sit down, review them and chart a way forward for all of us. I don't want to start repeating all they said, like what Professor Zolu has said. So we allocate more funds for R&D. That is so obvious. if you want to move forward as a nation, because a nation that cannot produce any of our drugs from within, that nation is not secure. It's not secure. Anybody, if you go into war with anybody now, there are things that can help to wipe us all out within months. Because all this exportation will not come in. Then what are we going to fall back on? Nothing. Because we are not producing anything here. And a country like that, like
Yes.
Professor Amora said, a healthy nation is a wealthy nation. Are we healthy in this country? Can we say we are healthy in this country? No. The indices are there to stare us in the face. They are bad, and we should say it the way it is. They are bad, and nobody will come and help us to make them better. It is us. We have to sit down, think about these issues, and years back. Because the opportunity we have now is not the same as we will have later. Oil that we get so much money from, it's going to be devalued, so to say. They have found other means of giving themselves energy, power, other than burning oil. So where we get the money from, it's not going to come like it used to come before now. So we need to get started now, or like yesterday. That is even the issue that freaks me each time we talk about all these issues. We have had the time, in the past that we should do all these things. It's past. So we are late, and we should start now. So I'm really assuring you that as a committee of this House, under the able leadership of our Speaker, we will try and see that from next year budget, R&D will be well funded to a certain extent. But at least we'll start from somewhere. I want to use this opportunity to say thank you to everybody that participated in this. Dr. Meje, you have been a wonderful coordinator. You have done very well. Dr. Adigwe, thank you for putting this up. This is a very veritable way of making people see reason why they must act. You have really brought this into the open, and we're sure that we will not disappoint you. We will be of help. I know that by the time you start coming in, you wouldn't have imagined what we will do, sincerely speaking. And I thank all the professors. My brother from Sugar, yes, that's the name. Thank you so much. I hope you can bail us out from some of this mess we have found ourselves. Because since you earn your salaries in dollars and everything you do is in dollars.
Okay, it's not possible that I can be in dollars now.
We'll be looking forward to you to help us. I really want to put something from what you said. How do I put it? There are things on ground for people to use when they are doing things. Look, in this house, we have 360 constituencies. 360. And we deal directly with the people. You see, it's time we start looking at these structures and doing things through these structures, because they will go directly to the people. We're talking about sanitizers. I knew of a woman that started producing hand sanitizers in my constituency that time. And it was effective because we were using it. And sincerely speaking, not a well-educated person. I don't know how she came about it. But what I'm trying to say is that all these NGOs can directly work with our people. You know, working through government structures sometimes will bring delay. Walk through these structures and they will be direct to our people. And we should think about that too. One more time, I don't want to take our time. Thank you so much. God bless you. It's been wonderful listening to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Wonderful one. If in case you disappear before this house collapses in some few minutes, we just want to tell you that DG, your microphone is mute in case you are trying to talk. DG. Okay. You see, when you came in, since you came in, you have remained where you are now until the end of this conference. You are such a wonderful man. Thank you, sir. Thank you. We are very grateful. And it is a sign, you see, because the action speaks louder than voice. It is from what we see that we can predict what someone will do. The fact that you search throughout, the fact that Mora searched throughout, the fact that Ray sat throughout, the fact that Obi sat throughout, the fact that Mopa sat throughout immediately it came in and no one left, shows that all of you, have this as a burning issue in your mind, and we must get out of it because it's a shame. It is a shame on all of us. None of you should think that anybody is. You are not big, or legislator. You are not big. President is not big. If president has to go to UK for treatment, then he is not big. Because other presidents, when they are sick, they get treated in their country. So all of us, if we do research and development, we will develop our country very well, when then everybody will have all the medicines we need in this country, and we will all be safe. If other countries decide to start encapsulating anthrax, or start encapsulating coronavirus inside tablets and send to us, we will all drink and die. But if we make our medicines, then we are safe. Registrars are your last word. Your last words are Professor Moran. Unmute your microphone, sir. Your microphone is mute.
Okay. Professor Martins.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you said registrar. I'm no longer registrar.
Sorry, sir. My chairman, sir.
That's all right. Thank you. Well, let me put it this way. Honestly speaking, it has been a golden opportunity for me to share my thoughts with my colleagues. And I really appreciate the DG and your good self. I'm very, very proud of you, Martins. You have always been like this since your student days. And I'm not surprised that the way you are going. This is a good start, the good way to start. And I'm sure we'll see more and more of this kind of teleconferences in the future. There's no way that we cannot support the House of Representatives and the Senate to fund the research activities in NIPRIT. And the legislator has given his words to us, and I'm sure it's a committed and it's a man of integrity. We all heard him loud and clear. So DG, congratulations for this milestone. Let's look at next year. What I'm sure they will start, the letters will start going out for the envelope for the budget for next year. And I would want the DG to use this opportunity, at least the instrumentality of this particular conference, to remind the House that they should give him more money for research and development. And again, I want to re-emphasize the need of the fact that this, I keep saying this, research studies in the universities, even if it is at the level of during the quarterly meetings of the Pharmacist Council, maybe the DG can send in a table to the deans of the faculties to actually fill in, to bring in these research studies to the meeting so that he can collect them. I think it will be a way to start before you start to appoint desk officers actually in the universities. It can start by way of simply write letters to all these 22 universities, faculties of pharmacy, that please, if you are coming for the, say, next quarter meeting with the Pharmacists Council, because all the deans are members of council. The DG and CEO of NAPRI is member of council, are distributed as that. And now, please come along with the copies of the listing of the research studies that have some kind of phytochemical or pharmacognosy related components, or any, all of them actually, so that the NIPRID can now sit and look at the ones that they think have potential to be developed into for further for formulations and so on. So that can be done. And again, research and development in the industries, manufacturing industries, are not there. I think the DG should again use the instrumentality of his office to actually initiate that. I know the manufacturers are unwilling to submit data. That is quite unfortunate, to submit data. But given his position as one time at the head of PMG man, he'll use his good office and goodwill to get this data. We need data from to initiate the R&D departments in the manufacturing facilities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Prof. And for those two key things, we are going to look at it. In fact, all the presentations will go to the House Committee. My Chairman, Honorable Adejare, you will get all the presentations. Then the report, we will get you the report. I'm sure you heard my DG already extending hand of fellowship to Professor Ozolua. So I am Professor Ozolua. We will sit and do a summarization of what has happened today for your use at the House Committee. And you can count on us. I am Professor Ozolua. We answer any call that you ask us to do without payment. We are doing it as a national service. We will do anything that is necessary for us to do for our country to develop. It's not everybody. It's because when you people reach out, you will realize that there are so many intellectuals in this country who just want our country to develop so that we can get out of this shame. It's not everybody that is looking for payment on everything. No. Now, your last word, keynote speaker, Professor.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me, Professor Meji? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay, thank you. Once again, let me thank you and especially thank the DG. Thank the DG for the opportunity that you have given to me and others to ventilate this medicine insecurity. Well, in the front burner, I think that must begin to, every opportunity we have, mention it so that Nigerians will know how insecure we are. And it's been clearly stated, if we are not medicine secure, then what are we? Pseudo-independence. That's what I've called it. We have this false sense of drug needs. We are simply not independent as a nation. I'm delighted that Honorable Tunde Ajari, the chair of the House Committee on Health, has promised that the National Assembly will do what it needs to do. Research has to be funded in Nigeria. I know how much work you have done, Professor Meji, and many other persons. Some of these things are gathering dust there. Nobody is making effort to, develop products out of what we have. In one of the slides, I showed the Andrographis paniculata. You know that plant. It's a wonder plant that we could taking advantage of as a nation, and then many of our problems will have been addressed. So I think that like each other, and that we are out, we are available if we are called upon to help in security in medicines. I once again say thank you to everyone for listening, and
thank you. Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you very much. We are grateful. And my chairman of council, Professor Mora, thank you for those two key things, but there is one that is going to be under your own leadership. That is the one that has to do with schools of pharmacy. We will get our concept and meet you for further discussion so that we can have a proper framework developed before we reach out to the investors. I believe that within your time as chairman of council, we can get it done. Let's do these things. Thank you very much. Now, my DG has stepped, is on his way to the National Assembly for the meeting that Honorable Tunde is going to attend now. So, on behalf of the management of the Institute, I would like to thank everybody that has attended this program, from all the staff, I can see so many of them, and all members of the academia, and especially my lovely classmates. I see those from US, like DG. I see those in Zamfara, like Yakuba Motu. I see a lot of them. I see management, top management of NIPRI. I see those from Australia who are they are telling us that they are from Australia, Nigerians, highly interested. We have a lot of them on this panel. Even my head of department, Professor Yetunde Isimi, is on there. I can see all of you. Thank you, all of you, for attending this program. We are grateful that you made it happen. If you did not come, then it wouldn't have been possible. And thank you, all of you, the panelists, for being wonderful panel of experts for this discussion. Honorable Chairman of this occasion, I will not be able to thank you enough. May I yield this microphone to you to declare it closed. Thank you, sir. Your mic, sir. Your microphone, sir.
Thank you, thank you. I want to use this opportunity to say thank you to everybody, from the convener, the moderator, and the panelists, keynote speaker. You've been wonderful. And I want to reassure you that by the grace of God, things will change and change for the best. Thank you all. I declare the summit closed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are grateful that you have attended this program. Have a wonderful day at work or in your house, wherever you are. And for those of you who are going to sleep, have a good night. Jide from China, Taibat, my classmate Tiwa, Rukayat, Sarah is my classmate, Precious, Pharaoh, Rukayat, all of you, thank you for attending. I see Clara, I see Peter Madu, that's Dr. Madu. I see Nathan, I see Mujahid, I see Moses, I see Brianni, I see Leslie, I see Muhammad, I see Messin, I see Dr. Messi, that's Messi, I see Juliet, I see Joy, I see Joseph, I see Dr. Jemilat Ibrahim, my sister, I see Ogoina, I see Morton, I see Maxwell. Oh, Maxwell, Dr. Maxwell, thank you for attending. I see Dr. Yusman Balarebe, I see Ibrahim, I see Oga Ibrahim Ali, thank you for coming. I see Standard Journal, you didn't tell us your name. Make sure you fill our questionnaire. You get in our questionnaire in your emails. Make sure you fill them in the next 30 minutes and send them back to us. We'll send you the slides. I see Freeman Bitrus, Judith and Felix, Mapis, Ibrahim Jato, thank you for coming. Dr. Danraka, you should be thanking me for thanking you. Cynthia and Asupo. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful day wherever you are. Bye.